Well, I think, I think almost every executive feels like they have a book inside them at some point in time. But I think it was solidified for me about a year and a half ago when I was just finished a turnaround engagement, which was lengthy and a very difficult one. And I was talking to one of the young executives as I departed the company, and I asked him what his plans were. He's a bright young kid. He was well-educated, working on his skill sets, but just a real genuine kid, someone who had clearly had great potential to be a leader in the future. And in asking him what he wanted to do, he said, well, he wanted to continue to work in the operations side of the business. And I said, have you thought about the leadership side? Have you thought about, some way, do you see yourself in the C-suite at some point in time? And he said, no, I see what you go through and I really don't want anything to do with that. And I was kind of shocked. I was taken back by it. And I said, why not? What did you see that put you off that? And he said, I don't want to live my life like I'm going to be on the 6 o'clock news. And that kind of took me back, and it made me realize that there's so many challenges to being a chief executive officer today that young people can look at this and be afraid to lead. So do we have the best pool of candidates coming in to lead our organizations, to lead us into some kind of solid economic future that we can all rely on? And the answer is that there's a lot of really scared people out there who just don't want that big a target on their back. So that and the fact that I always thought I had a book in me, he kind of solidified the fact, and off I went on my journey to write a book about how to be a CEO, not for the Fortune 100s or the guys with the huge pedigrees, but for the rest of us really regular people who every day get up and try to go into work and do the best we can for our shareholders and our employees. And we're not always successful. We're human. We make a lot of mistakes. The difference is our mistakes are unforgivable. So any leg up that you can give young people that will encourage them to take this job on and not be afraid of it, but with some precautionary measures, you can set yourself up to be a lot more successful at being a CEO, and you want the best leadership you can possibly get. So I was still mulling all these things over in my head, and I was meeting with a colleague one day, and he was asking me what I was doing, and I'm always looking for another CEO gig, so I told him that's what I was doing, and he said that, I was working on a book, and he said, well, there's a guy you have to talk to. So I met with Henry at Indie Books, and I couldn't believe how fast things came together. I had about 40,000 words down on paper, and Indie Books just made it all happen for me. So I think the combination of a young man who had no idea what he was going to do for me, which was give me the impetus, to get words out of my head and to really do a great emotional release for me in putting a book together. So it's been a very rewarding experience. If I never sell one book, it doesn't make any difference to me. The experience has been worth the effort.